What up, YouTube? Welcome to the less sexy side of masonry. Today we're going to talk about a few jobs that are pretty routine, pretty fairly mundane, but certainly necessary and something you're probably going to be seeing in your first year as an apprentice. And it's not necessarily that these are jobs that only apprentices do, but they are time consuming. They're, I would say, somewhat less skilled and can be somewhat less desirable jobs. Talked a little bit about it in my very first video, but now that I've had almost my full year in the trade, I would like to kind of highlight them and get you prepared. So first things first, something I didn't do a lot of, but was touted as probably the mainstay thing that you'd be doing, especially if you're a bricklayer, not PCC. I'm PCC. So pointer caulker cleaners do somewhat different work than bricklayers or just the different variations there are for masonry work. So some of those things that bricklayer apprentices typically do are going to be chopping block, brick, basically stacking, preparing materials for your journeyman apprentices, or even sometimes year 3, year 4s, while they do more of the skilled labor. Washing brick or block with what we would typically call detergent, but it's muriatic acid. It's an acid wash. There's variations of acid actually that you would use, and now that I've discovered. But ultimately, just be ready to get a lot of that, right? Some of my fellow apprentices who came into class with me had a lot more of that than I did. I was very lucky to join the company I did, and you'll be sent all over the place to do a myriad of different things. But one of the things that I did recently that I thought was very interesting, and it came with a bit of a cautionary tale, was scrubbing the carbon. Over many years, carbon will just build up on the side of buildings, and sometimes we'll be tasked to go out there and scrub it off. Now, this stuff we used was harsher than muriatic acid. We actually tried a lighter detergent before the material that we used, and it didn't come off. It was like a gel. It was almost like a jelly, and I don't know. I think the stuff might have even been expired. It took everything we had to even get the lid off the bucket, so that didn't seem right. So they brought out a harsher stuff, gave us full raincoats, full PPE. The only thing that I neglected to ask for was boot covers. So you can probably see where this is going. So spent all day on a lift, about 5 stories up, lanyarded off, everything else is safe. And yeah, the way you do this is you take kind of a large brush, looks like a T, if you can imagine the capital letter T, but on the top of the T is a bunch of bristles. So you stick those bristles in the bucket. You really give the wall a nice helping of this diluted detergent, because you dilute it, it's so strong. Wait a minute or so, and then you have to pressure wash it off. So if you can imagine that, pressure washing about a foot in front of you. It was a very skinny alleyway. Where's that going to go? It's going to go all over you, right? So it's very important that you have something to cover your face, your hands, your extremities. But again, I wore my boots, and this stuff will eat through boots, and it might not even be obvious in the moment that even the diluted version of this can get to your socks, and then of course your feet. So by the time I got in my car to go home, I kind of felt the burning down there. I had to take my boots off and stuff, and the answer to solve that was, of course, just water the area, a little soap after you watered it. I'm all healed up now. It took like a day or 2 for the burn to stop, and then it was fine. But there's really no way around it other than obviously putting those boot coverings on, but anything can happen, right? A wind could shift, blow that stuff right back in my face, like just there's a lot of things that can happen. Now, I don't want to dwell too long on the scrubbing aspect, which I'm going to use a picture of the wall I did as the cover for this video. You can tell the before and after. I left a strip that was not clean to the right. It makes a huge difference. I can see why a customer would want that. But as an example, if you're just chopping block with a big chop saw, there are times where you'll be on sites where they don't have water hookups for your saw, right? Or even the little pumps with a sprayer to spray water on your saw. Because if you don't have that, you are creating plumes of silicate dust. And you do not want to breathe that. You'll know immediately. If you start breathing that in, you're going to feel kind of a sting in your throat and your lungs. That stuff can cause cancer, cause your mesotheliomas and stuff like that. But most of the time, it's not because your employer sent you out there without the right stuff. It's because people are just not wearing the stuff they've either been given or had on their person. So, again, I say most of the time. There's exceptions depending on who you work for and all that. But yeah, if you're doing that 8 hours a day for months at a time and you're not wearing your PPE, even wearing the PPE, that stuff can get in. So, it's very important that you're very careful and you're taking care of yourself, or else you're just not going to make it. Working at the stadium like I am, which is to my right, but I'm not allowed to videotape that. There's a lot of things. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of things to be aware of because you're focused on your work. It's easy to get lost in your work. But while you're working, there are people, maneuvering around you, people who are swinging things above you, or if you're in the lift, moving around beneath you. While working, I've had a welder who looked like they were a safe distance away from me, at least 20, 30 feet, but above me. And he dropped some slag, and the wind must have caught it because it hit me square in the shoulder blade. And luckily, I had a couple layers on. But probably the world's worst bee sting is what that feels like. And that's because I had a couple layers. I can't imagine what it would have felt like if I didn't have those layers on. So, but that was just doing some basic caulking. I was having a great day, and that happened, right? So. It's just it's really surprising what can come up in your day-to-day, but it's always interesting. I'm having a blast. I'm telling you cautionary tales, but I'm telling you I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm still loving the decision I made. I know the last video it was what I got wrong, but if I didn't say it enough in that video, I want to say it here, and not just because I've lost weight or have more energy or anything like that, but my ADD brain loves doing this stuff. Absolutely loves doing this stuff. I see different places all the time. Not always going to be the case, not for everybody, but I've been lucky this year to be in different places, learning different things almost the entire year. I think that part of it's going to be true for most every apprentice because they want the versatility from their employees. They want the people who are doing this job to know how to do different things. So that's been great, right? Now, the other part of me that wants to be amazing at this is probably frowny face, right? Because I'm not excellent really at any of it. So I won't even say I'm great at any of it or good at any of it because I've touched a little bit of everything. Now, am I good enough to get through the day and do my job? Absolutely. And my peers would come by and tell me if I've screwed something up, right? But earlier this week I was working on some more of a patching job, and I've been pretty decent at patching, but we were pouring a stair and the stair crumbled because we had to take the form off, and it was just too soon, and then we had to patch that, but then it started raining, so the patch didn't take. So quickly things can snowball, and that was probably my most frustrating day of the year, is to see something we really worked hard on kind of fall apart. But I'm glad it happened to a degree because it's going to happen, and I should know what that feels like, right? So if you start in this industry and you're running into problems, good, run into the problems, right? Make your mistakes, but don't make mistakes because you didn't ask a question. Make a mistake because you're trying your best, and you make your mistakes, because those are the mistakes they expect. They don't expect as an apprentice to go back to what I was saying earlier, not wear their raincoat and be messing with your acid wash, right? Or not wear your respirator, or use your hose to keep the dust down when using your chop saw, so you're not breathing in ridiculous amount of, like, just make the mistakes that come with learning the trade. Don't make the mistakes that are going to cause you physical harm, right? So yeah, it's just interesting to see how things are coming together, and they are really coming together. I feel like I've been sent on some jobs by myself, which I know is stretching it a little bit. You're not supposed to do that with apprentices, but I guess they trust my ability or my what would you call that? My ability to understand what I'm doing, competency to do the job myself. Small jobs, nothing big, like finishing a little row of peel and stick waterproofing or small patching, like very basic stuff that it's hard to screw up. They trust me to do, which is really nice. It's really a vote of confidence. Makes me feel like, okay, I'm in the right direction here. I'm moving forward. Clearly, if these guys who've been at it forever trust me to do something, then I can feel good about it. So, but yeah, on my way, feeling good. Drop a like or a comment. Hoping to hear more from you guys. Stay built strong, and thanks for watching.